he said that if a team dominates the first game, then I'm expecting this to be a 3-0, but otherwise we could be in for a close match. And I would lean toward a close match from that one because Team Freedom had a really good start to that game. It was just that HeroesHearth, they had a phenomenal draft and knew how to play it.
I mean, again, the Test Tracer combo on Volskaya, we know it works. And when you lack the CC, Garage has to land his Groundbreaker, which is hard to do against a Tracer. It should be pretty easy to dodge that, and then you have to wait towards taunt. The lack of CC was pretty evident there, and trying to land skill shots. Genji's not going to do a lot of damage towards Tracer, except for on that one kill. It was at the end of the Swift Strike. It's going to be difficult to deal with a Tracer on that battleground and with that style of play. And the fact that it was picked in the 1-2 spot and wasn't responded to differently, I think they're going to learn from that.
Well, let's see. We are ready to get into game 2. It's going to take place on Sky Temple, likely Team Freedom's choice, which means they forego first pick to have their favorite battleground.
Yeah, this is something that, we've seen from them. They work really well on this, controlling rotations, playing around that global. The Dahaka play is definitely something they like to play around, especially when that. But it was yesterday's draft that we actually saw. This was the one with the slightly different role setup.
Yes.
Where Nasmus was still playing the melee at that point.
He played Blaze, but he played a mid lane Blaze, and then Yoda played Phoenix in the solo lane. But the next game, Nasmus played Phoenix. So I think it was something to do with the Blaze, maybe. I guess we'll see if they do it again. I'm wondering if HeroesHearth just bans Dahaka, because that's what Simplicity did versus them yesterday on this map, and then you keep them from getting their hands on all the globals.
Well, there is one global that might not be able to be avoided.
Yeah.
Talking Trees plays himself a mean Abathur. And if you're really trying to make sure that Abathur gets value, you can ban the Dahaka. And if you really want to make sure that you can have Crowan or McIntyre potentially carry this team from that damage role, you can support them, clone them. Again, Talking Trees has a very diverse hero pool. He plays a plethora of heroes, and so it doesn't matter what he clones. Whenever you pick, he's going to be comfortable on it.
Nope.
And I think Team Freedom knows that. I like the ban from Freedom. They know that, and that is a sub-garnering respect.
Talking Trees used to play Falstad too, right? And we saw Falstad be played by Nasmus yesterday. So maybe with both of those bans, we might see an even earlier Falstad. Boss control's pretty good. Global's also nice.
I wonder if HeroesHearth was like, I wonder if we can sneak in this Abathur because we got Talking Trees and maybe they won't say anything. Blaze is going to be picked up, taking a page away from Team Freedom, maybe get a Phoenix later on, and whether Team Freedom wants to work in that Phoenix maybe here in the early part of that draft, we'll see how they respond. But Blaze, always a strong pickup. McIntyre on that hero in particular, always looks top-notch.
Globals are at a premium in this draft, with 2 being banned. So Team Freedom will amp up getting ETC. Sometimes we see ETC played by the solo laner, so this may be Yoda, but also Zugrug has been known to play some ETC, and Stage Dive could come in to give them that global presence still.
Well, HeroesHearth, again, now the Phoenix has been taken away. It's going to be over on the side of Team Freedom. Something, as you said, they played yesterday, but it takes away another range damage dealer. Something that when we look at HeroesHearth, you start to look at Crowan's hero pool. Hanzo, not normally the go-to on this battleground, but something he's known for. Jaina is another one if you get the proper CC. When you look at Jaina and Hanzo on this battleground, it feels like you need another element because sometimes they're a little bit skill shot based, and you either need the setup or you need another damage dealer to kind of slow them down in case you're not hitting all of your skill shots in the meantime.
You talk about skill shots, and it's going to be Jaina, but I wondered if we would see a lot of Li Ming this series, because Li Ming is back in NA meta, at least to start. We'll see if that continues through the weeks, because there have been a couple of parts in phases of North America where she starts, has a pretty subpar win rate, and then drops off the face of the earth for a little while for North America. But we saw 3 teams play her yesterday, and one of them was Team Freedom. We saw Lutano play it, and it's HeroesHearth. We know Crowan likes Li Ming.
Hero let through again. Genji has been let through. See if HeroesHearth lets that through with Jaina and Malfearin a little bit squishier on that backside. And Genji likes to free roam, and it could be something. Zeratul is another hero that we have to always consider for these teams. With Blaze already being picked up, probably not going to be on the side of HeroesHearth because that would be McIntyre generally there. Again, with Talking Trees, anything is on the table. The other thing when you say Li Ming, I think he would probably say that Li Ming is his best hero. I'm pretty sure I've asked him that before. So if it comes to that, do him and Crowan actually have to fight it out? Or does Kron get it because he's already on the team?
There's probably some seniority going on there.
What if
but you're
Trees is
right.
like, I'm not playing anymore unless I get to play Li Ming.
There was a game at DreamHack Austin where Trees destroyed on Li Ming. So that's a great point.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
Well, HeroesHearth, they've got the ban. Are you afraid of the Genji? Was Nasmus's Genji enough to be like, hey, you know what? It's okay. But as you said, he also played the Phoenix yesterday. And Lutano, we know he is capable of playing these style of heroes. So it's obviously a thing that you can flex between those if needed.
Yeah, what I think is very cool from that ETC Phoenix, it is highly versatile for Team Freedom. Now HeroesHearth bans the Sergeant Hammer. So I wonder if we're going to see Ishbu pick up that Garrosh. But for the moment, we have the next 2 picks from Team Freedom. We still need a support. Deckard Cain, or is Collusion willing to flex over to something different? We saw a little bit of difference.
Gonna give him the Fist of Fury.
Yeah, you think it's going to be Karzim?
It's kind of his go-to at this point. I think it's a little bit riskier. I like the Deckard better at this point.
A lot of CC.
Yeah, and so not getting cleanse, even though Deckard doesn't have cleanse, they function slightly different. You could shut people down with Stay a While and Listen, at least for a moment. Karazim has been his backup hero, but Deckard obviously seems a step above right now for a lot of people in their hierarchy.
Here's where we find out, I think, if this is going to be Yoda playing Phoenix in the solo lane, or if it's Nasmus again. No, all right, they'll commit to it. Thrall and Karzim.
Now I wonder, is Phoenix Falstad as appealing? I think that you hit it there. I think Falstad could be the pickup here and is a likely pickup, especially at what we've seen through the first few days of our current meta. And if you have that heavy engagement of a style like this, maybe even a stage dive, can you gust them away? It also gives you an interrupt for a potential mosh pit. There's several uses that you can use around this. So the Falstad seems likely, but again, there is a lot still on the board that we could see our teams go. Hanzo's still available if they want to run that, but again, there's a lot in the air. They get Genji themselves.
I think I remember a pretty good Talking Trees Genji, if I'm recalling correctly. Johanna is going to help if we end up seeing a mosh pit, ETC too. Really important that they have some more interrupts for a mosh pit, though we've talked a lot about Stage Dive. Stage Dive and Earthquake can both enable Purification Salvo, but you know what? Mosh Pit and Planet Cracker is just a good old-fashioned wombo combo.
I wonder if we'll get a mage here. This might be the Li Ming spot, because Johanna against an ETC, Phoenix, Thrall, Karazim, they're pretty reliant on auto attacks to do the majority of their damage, and I feel like you've got to get some spell damage coming in here. Thrall, the lightning is kind of there. Phoenix, maybe with the salvo or the Planet Cracker, as you mentioned, but in terms of just getting that normal style damage, I feel like this might be that time where we see that, else we might even see a Falstad on this side.
That's kind of what I was thinking. But wait, ETC isn't 100% locked into Stage Dive if they still want to have a global. Okay. I wonder if they want disengage or if they'd want a lot of firepower. They went with firepower.
That is a lot. That is a very in-your-face. It's really reliant on roots from Thrall, which he probably won't be there 100% of the time, but ETC. If you're playing Li Ming, you want to wait for that power slide. You want to wait for that big setup. Karazim does not have CC the way that you would expect Deckard to. So your skill shot options are throw them out, try and land those raw skill shots, or to simply try and follow up CC, and there's not as much on it. So your opportunities are going to be a little bit more limited, I think, if you're playing the Li Ming this game.
Yeah, Lutano showing us a lot of new heroes back on Li Ming now, so we'll get to see how that is going to work out for them. It is Phoenix, played by Yoda in the solo lane. So we'll see ETC being able to stick with the rest of the team. And if Nasmus is playing Thrall, maybe it's a Crash Lightning kind of game.
I'm going to guess no.
I know.
I wouldn't complain, but I'm going to guess no.
I'm going to guess no, too. You see both of the drafts now. HeroesHearth getting a very HeroesHearth-esque draft. Any thoughts, any preferences here, knowing that it's Team Freedom and Sky Temple is where they feel their home?
I like it a lot. I mean, I think you've got to have the fear of the mosh pit that could come in. I think that's where the Johanna pick comes in, a very safe pick, making sure that you can iron skin out of any potential CC coming in. So I like the pickup a lot for Ishbu, and it makes for easy follow-up for Crowan to say, hey, look, we're bringing somebody in. You get the condemn, you get some roots down, and then that's when you know Crowan can shine. He can shine on his own, but even better with the team, and I think he's got a very good team around him. And Talking Trees on that Genji, how courageous will he be this game?
Team Freedom has a draft similar in style to what HeroesHearth had in the last game, a little bit different, but still having the Purification Salvo, the Earthquake, and then later on, Thunderstorm possible. From Thrall, a lot of area damage that Malfurion may have trouble initially dealing with, forcing them to back off for a few temple shots, but the difference is Bunker. Having Bunker here is going to be huge. Having the Iron Skin for Johanna is going to be really big too, and maybe being able to deal with that combo is something that Team Freedom are going to have to keep in mind when it comes to bunkers and when they decide to use those abilities.
Well, one thing that stands out to me right now, speaking of abilities, let's talk about the talent for Phoenix. It seems like since Midseason Brawl, we kind of had that, look, if it works for them, it works for me. That conformational bias really started to come in, going into getting your 3 auto attacks with your repeater, and then switching, getting that long range, big splash, big powerful auto attack in. Here we're going into the stacking one. This one has seen a few minor nerfs since the release of Phoenix. You don't get as much auto attack as you would expect. It's a little bit different, but still something that can help in sustaining and team fights, getting a little bit more damage. So a little bit of a change up here for Team Freedom and Yoda on that Phoenix.
Yoda is the first person I saw use Arsenal Synergy, and that was even before he had, before it had been buffed. So to see this here, especially since
This is the mobile arm.
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
often see that taken versus Genji. Yesterday it works and being able to chase down, but here my guess is he's trying to make sure that the stutter stepping, he's going to be moving around a lot and keeping up that kind of pressure maybe toward the front line.
See how this plays out. We've seen some early rotations here towards the Siege Giant camps, but it's been really heavily in our first few days around the timing as Collusion's revealed there by BBJ, but BBJ still walks forward. He's going to get the power slide, puts the root down underneath him, and now Crowan trying to return damage. It's not level 7 yet, so you don't get that full-on repeating Q going out there, but still enough to thwart the assault of Team Freedom.
Starting to see the transition to Bruisers before we see the Temple phase start. About 50 seconds. Team Freedom are making their way up there. It is one nice thing about having a Karazine, something that we saw quite a bit from the Eastern region when they started double supporting with the Karazine, is he can rotate around either looking for picks or looking to get some camp damage in with that Iron Fists.
Swift Strike going in there, Talking Trees, knowing that he has quite a bit of mobility, and he's getting a little bit of harassment there. And it's a really good job, because what he's doing is just delaying the rotation up from Thrall, getting a little bit more value, denying him 1 or 2 minions. And those small things are things that you look for at the competitive level, and just a small heads-up play there by Talking Trees. Very good job so far with his part.
What do you think about Sins Exposed? Because I've heard you and Dread talk a lot about the difference between Eternal Retaliation and Conviction, having the extra movement speed so that you can engage a little bit easier. This is just flat out adding to the damage that HeroesHearth has.
Yeah, I think part of it was what we just saw there, that rotation bot lane, and the first time we heard about it, it was more just about, hey, it does more, it helps us wave clear. I think the first time we saw it might have been on the Dragonshire game where they were lacking a little bit of wave clear, and I think we've only seen it maybe once or twice, and that was the response that we got, was just making sure that you get a little bit of extra damage. And I believe it might have even been Ishbu who ran that. So it's something that we've seen. It's not often, but I think this is one of those moments where you just try and get a little bit of extra damage, but at the time it was strictly based around wave clear. This time, not as focused in that department, but still will find its place in this game.
Let's see if they can use that to cut through the healing of Karazim and the self-heals of some of the others. But now, level 7 achieved by both teams. Just a trade on the temples from either side. This is a very even Sky Temple game. Different than Team Freedom when they played Sky Temple last time. They got an early advantage over Simplicity that they were able to snowball into not allowing for fights. But as we're seeing right now, they are being forced to fight versus HeroesHearth, because HeroesHearth have had the training of MSB macro to try to refine that.
My favorite thing when we got to talk to HeroesHearth at Midseason Brawl was their mentality and their approach. I think it came through in even one of McIntyre's interviews while we were at MSB. And it was just the amount of, I guess, awareness they had. They didn't expect to come in to get first place. There's no way. They wanted to use it as a stepping stone, as a learning element for them. And with that mentality, you know they like to stay grounded. I think it's something, it was a very nice approach to hear from HeroesHearth, and it's definitely showing that they have a clear strategy in mind, and they're going to execute it as best they can, and so far seems to be doing okay.
Jay-How, it's not often that I see this level 7 Phoenix talent divert power weapons. You have to drain your shields, but then you get 80%, well, either equal to your basic attack damage is increased proportional to the shields drained up to 80%. So he has emergency protocol at 4. So once his shield's gone, he gets a 25% movement speed. So more stutter stepping. But versus a Jaina Genji, that seems scary.
Versus a Genji alone?
Yeah.
Like, that's like, all right, shields down, engage. And that is a terrifying moment. McIntyre able to get out of danger there. Both teams pretty close to level 10. And as I mentioned, Johanna still playing a little bit of that solo lane, keeping Blaze rotating with the team. That's kind of the part with that level 4. It's a really interesting approach that we've seen here from HeroesHearth, kind of reinventing the rotations just a little bit.
And for Team Freedom trying to keep up with this and having some of those fluid rotations that we saw yesterday, it's been disrupted a lot more by HeroesHearth. They found a Nasmus out in lane, they got a kill on him, which has given them a better presence in this bottom lane with heroic ability slightly before Team Freedom got their own. With the stage dive, the root misses. It's unfortunate. And the Ring of Frost, the palm hits, but unfortunately for Team Freedom, it cost the life of 2 to get it.
Oh my, that was absurd. We're gonna get a trade here, and Li Ming is doing some damage. Lutano trying to get another reset, but that was bullseye for HeroesHearth.
Yes, so when you pick stage dive versus Malfurion, you can expect that when you stage dive in, if roots are up, they're going to be there to meet you. And then, nobody expected, I don't think, a Ring of Frost from HeroesHearth. I mean, you can check it, but generally, when you see Crowan play Jaina, he plays the Water Elemental. But that was a Ring of Frost, there was the melee there, you wanted to Earthquake maybe, and then Karazim came in for the palm. He met his fate from that. That's gotta change.
There was the game earlier with Blessed Shield setting it up and Ring of Frost. Nice Iron Skin there. That's why you picked Johanna, but it was the Blessed Shield into a Ring of Frost, and they were confirming a lot of kills earlier. I was just in EU as the root goes right past Talking Trees there, and now looks like Nasmus is stuck in between a bunker and a hard place.
Yeah, that's what I call bunker blocked. Even with the palm, he's still not getting out if you're just using his sustain to buy time for the team to do damage to the rest, but McIntyre is the one least healthy. He'll take some damage from the salvo, but it's not nearly enough to get a counter.
Yeah, salvo's short enough cooldown where if you're just using it as a simple disengage, not the worst thing in the world, but right now HeroesHearth definitely in control, 5 kills to 1. Thrall still down, and HeroesHearth are checking the bushes. They're checking around every single corner. Don't find anybody. Oil goes down as well. They're going to steal a Siege Giant camp here. They're taking away all sorts of control from Team Freedom right now, starting to extend this. We got a full level lead. 13 coming up, and Gilly, the most important part is going to be the fact that next Temple phase, Temple's top bottom, the only global on the board on the side of Team Freedom. We'll see if they can try and manipulate that to get back into this game.
Jay-How, you talked about HeroesHearth Esports and their love of wombos, and though they transitioned away from that in part 2, maybe didn't see it to the same effect as we saw with their Dragon's Era APOC, they can show they've still got it. Even with the sub, they've still got it. That was insane. I fear for Team Freedom, you only have one palm, and I think Yoda will be considering carefully when he diverts power to his weapons.
Yeah,
my goodness.
That's one of the more surprising talent pickups I've seen through the first few days, but we know Yoda does like to do things a little bit differently. One of the first to kind of bust out that W build false down, full W build false down. We'll see how that plays out. But either way, Icy Veins with Jaina, post level 7 and 13. You know that Crowan's there. There's going to be the slide. There it is. This is what we saw earlier. Nice Divine Palm. Collusion's going to be there. The oil goes down. Not able to get the stun in. But the full collapse, that was the combo we saw earlier today. HeroesHearth trying to make it their own. But heads up play by Collusion. Stage dive coming in, Gilly.
Right on top of Chrome, but the roots are there. And this time Twilight Dream, it wasn't used in that. BBJ was looking to see if he could step up and get to that Earthquake is here. Now they have the Lutano spells behind this, seeing if they can start the resets. But HeroesHearth has bailed out, except for Talking Trees. They'll be just fine, and both teams have made it through a lot of the wombos, the capabilities, the abilities of either side. But Team Freedom wants more. This time the power slide lands, and the blow up is good.
Oh, baby. We've got, oh, the Dragon Blade going in. Talking Trees, he's about to go off here. Collusion with the dash over. That's going to keep him alive for the moment. That's going to be kill number 2. It's going to be kill number 3. Nasmus staying alive somehow, but now all of a sudden, HeroesHearth turning this fight around in the blink of an eye, Gilly, and they are trying to chase for more. Talking Trees going off right now.
Blessed Shield stuns him out. No getting out of this one, Phoenix. No warping away to safety, and that's a staggered death that Team Freedom could not afford. We're going to take another look at this one again. The blow-up was phenomenal out of that power slide, but BBJ was right there with the Twilight Dream that set up this Dragon Blade so freaking well.
That was insane play, and the fact that they're making that happen, and then the follow-up there to continue that assault. We do see on the mini-map or on the picture there, Zugrug manning the top side. Siege Camp going to have to be dealt with in the bottom. Johanna manning the bottom here. This is going to be an interesting rotation. You still have a 3-level lead if you're HeroesHearth, but positioning a little bit different.
Yeah,
ETC
that's the
just
difference
stage
of the
bottom.
globals.
Yeah. This is boss play for Team Freedom. I like this call. This is a very heads-up call. If you're HeroesHearth, though. So here's the thing where a lot of people will make the mistake. I don't think HeroesHearth has to contest this. They're going to show, and I think that's going to be enough. Despite them showing they're still on the temple, not willing to commit to it.
Right.
I'm surprised.
Just take the rest of the temple for HeroesHearth because they made ETC stage dive down to the bottom. Team Freedom didn't even get a fort off of that. HeroesHearth were able to keep all of the forts alive. They have 3 levels, and Team Freedom need to make something happen for them. They didn't lose a keep this time, but they still are a level and a half away from being able to even get 16 to contest, and they have not been winning these team fights, Jay.
I feel that was a risk you had to take. I mean, you literally have 3 forts staring at you on the other side. At this point, with that much of a lead, if you see they're still on that temple, I feel that's a risk you have to take. And I'm really surprised Team Freedom did not commit to that, because now the climb up, it's still difficult. It does not get any easier from here. Against this experienced team like HeroesHearth with this much of a lead, it is very difficult to do. And for HeroesHearth, with that fort still standing, you don't have to contest. If you feel there's too much risk involved, there's no need.
Okay.
Zugrug, speaking of risks.
Not even everything had to be used there, and that's what's especially scary. Just the Blessed Shield. Now Bunker's down. They're continuing to chase. Yoda needs to be careful because that's a jet propulsion now with the follow-up Condemn. He warps out, but Nasmus is gone.
Deflect just in time for Talking Trees. The best part about that bunker, Gilly, was it was not used necessarily defensively. It wasn't necessarily used to get damage out of it. It was used to just put you on the other side, close that gap, get closer there, and do quite a bit of zoning. Very heads-up play by McIntyre. The snap calls like that are why I love this team. And now they're turning their attention towards the boss. We're going to have Team Freedom trying to get 16 through that top fort and through that next wave. They're going to have a boss in the bot lane, and that temple is in the top. Team Freedom, their backs are against the wall, and it's not getting any easier.
Single temple though, so not quite the level of assault that Team Freedom could have dealt with, but the issue is this boss is threatening their bot keep at a time when it's time to fight. Once they get 16, they need to get back out there. Once they get the palm too. But with the boss, we're not seeing HeroesHearth even do anything with the temple. They're a lot more focused at just pushing with this boss. They know they have been so victorious in team fights. They might be able to continue on with it.
Yeah, single point objective there at the top. There's no need risking that one-on-one fight. Just push with the boss. A little bit more defensive control when the boss is on your side. Can zone people out. Siege Giants as well. That's going to be the keep going down. They back out. Now, they play the low-risk game. Do they have to contend top? No. Can they? Yes. But with 19 to 16, this is one of those rare moments in Heroes of the Storm where it might be better just to do nothing.
With 2 forts up? Yeah, I'd say so. Boss dealt with. Team Freedom have a small window to try to wrest some control back into this game, but now catapults are in the bottom. That temple's all the way, the long trek to the top, and there's only the lone ETC with the stage dive, and Team Freedom are worried about separating him away from the rest of the team. There was some dancing happening in this studio. I don't even know.
Me neither. I don't know what you're talking about. But either way, this is that moment where you don't have to do anything. You just do nothing except clear waves. And if all is good, you can move in here, take this, get 20. And then now this is the part where Team Freedom, they've shown themselves to clear that lane top. And that's all that Heroes Hearth was waiting for. You give me a sign, and I'm taking it. And this is just perfect execution in the late game against the team like Team Freedom, giving them a taste of their own medicine. This is very Team Freedom-esque. And Heroes Hearth is like, yeah, well, we can do it too. And so far, it's working.
Freedom comes back. Nowhere near 20. They keep Thrall and ETC up in the top lane, desperate to soak where they can. Heroes Hearth are just like, yep, okay. As long as you are separate, we are together here taking out this keep. They move for more. They have 20 advantage. Can they close it out right here, right now?
Well, they're putting damage on the core, and they're feigning it right now. Siege Giants have moved up. Ishbu with the zoning right now. There's going to be a little bit of a cleanse onto Nasmus. Root coming out, not able to land. Shields have fallen, 80% and going. Heroes Hearth trying to go. Stage dive is there. Earthquake is down, but there's going to be so much damage. This is going to be way too much to overcome. Heroes Hearth, they don't have to even fight. They're just going to take it straight to the core, ignore the rest of Team Freedom, and that was a clean performance from Heroes Hearth.
Even Ring and Frost on the core. Like, why not?
Jinx.
It was, I think, first of all, probably didn't expect that kind of wombo to be executed that level. But it looked very good, and the surprise from there, that surprise factor, it felt like Freedom never recovered from that. Stage dive got little to no value, a lot of control over him. The one time that Jaina was killed, it was so far extended that everybody from Heroes Hearth just chased the rest back. They got so far ahead. They played the boss really well, taking out the first keep. Then they didn't go to the temple. They didn't give the fight. And then the stage dive, like, you were never going to get 20 from that. And Heroes Hearth were like, if you're just going to stay there, we'll just end the game.
It worked. Talking Tree, 6 kills, 0 deaths, most hero damage in the game. He's not bad. I'm impressed. And I think he got like 4 of them all in one fight.
Yeah.
Maybe not all of them, but they look good.
He's played very well for this team so far. He looks really good. We'll see what else he can do after this break. We are going to see if HeroesHearth Esports can get a 3-0 victory or what Team Freedom can do to bring it back.